Hello students, as we are going with the Unit 3 topic Natural Resources of Environment Science. In the previous lectures, we have covered with two resources. The first was the land resources, the second was the water resources. Second was the forest resources. So, third resource categorized under the natural resource we will discuss, that is water resources. Water is an indispensable source for life on earth. As we know that there are different resources, and in yesterday's lecture we have discussed about the alternative resources of renewable and non-renewable resources, right? But water is something where it is very difficult to find the alternate. So it is an indispensable resource for life on earth, and approximately 70.8% surface of earth is covered with water in the form of oceans. So 70% or 70.8% approximately surface is covered with water from the oceans. Out of this, about 97% is not fit for human consumption. Why? Because that water is brackish water or saline water. About 2% is locked as a glacier, and only less than 1% of water is available as fresh water. We can call it as drinking water. That can be used for consumption of human and other use. Water is very important source and essential for our life because it has very unique characteristic. Like water exists as liquid over wide range of temperature from 0 to 1000 degrees Celsius with highest specific heat and latent heat of vaporization. Means we can say it is an important resource. We can't live without water. But why? Because maximum liquids, they change their properties. Even it can be the physical property, even it can be the chemical property. When the temperature range varies. At different temperature, they change their quality. But water is something which exists only and only in the liquid form in a wide range of temperature from 0 to 1000 degrees Celsius with highest specific heat and latent heat of vaporization. So with these property, we can understood that how flexible the water is for various properties. That's why it is called as the universal solvent. Now, water is excellent solvent and act as carrier of nutrient and helps to distribute them to the cells in the body. So, because it is an excellent solvent and it act because it is in the solvent form, it acts as a carrier for various nutrients. And these nutrients are distributed in our body cells only and only by the means of this solvent called water. It regulates the temperature of our body and also supports structure and dissolve various pollutants and can act as carrier of large number of microorganisms. So it helps in maintaining the temperature of our body, right? If we need to regulate the temperature, we need to drink a lot of water. and it also supports structure and can dissolve various pollutants and act as a carrier of large number of microorganisms. Third, it is responsible for hydrological cycle which act as resource of water to earth, and water is responsible for hydrological cycle also. It is estimated that about 1.4-inch thick layer of water evaporates and majority of water returns to the earth through hydrological cycle. As we know, the process of transpiration, the water, it evaporates continuously, and by the process of transpiration, by the process of evaporation, water is continuously introducing in the hydrological cycle, and in the form of rain, again it comes back to the surface, earth surface. So water is renewable, but it is overused, and pollution make it unfit for use. So in previous lecture, we have categorized the resources in renewable and non-renewable, right? So renewable resources are the resources which can be renewed very easily. But if they are used in a proper manner. So water is something that it is in the plenty, but due to problem of overuse, due to pollution of water, it is unfit for use. Sewage, industrial use, chemicals, etc. pollute water with nitrates, heavy metals, and also pesticides, which are used in agriculture. Now comes use of water resources. Water resources are used for various purposes, like we use water for agriculture, we use water for various industrial purpose, we use water for domestic purpose, we use water for recreational purpose, we use water for the environmental activities. Like for the agriculture, we need water for irrigation. In industrial purpose, we need water for washing of various products. For domestic purpose, we need to drink water. We use water for bathing the animals. We use water for drinking, cooking, cleaning. For every domestic purpose, we need water. And that's why we say a comment called no life without water. So majority of the users, they require water. And even though it shouldn't be a saline water, it shouldn't be a brackish water. So majority of users require water, but it should be a fresh water. However, about 97% of water found on the earth is salt water, and only 3% is fresh water. So on the earth, 97% of water, that is salt water. That's why there's a problem, there is a huge problem of salinity stress on those areas where the vegetation takes place. And if we consider the fresh water, then only 3% water is available in the freshwater form. A little over 2/3 of the available fresh water is frozen. in glaciers and polar ice caps. The remaining fresh water is found mainly as groundwater, and a negligible portion of it is present on the ground or in the air. Following is a brief account of how water is used in different sectors. So we are saying that only two-thirds of fresh water is available on the glaciers and polar ice. So out of 100, 90%, 97% water is salt water. Only 3% of water is fresh water. And out of that 3% is available, out of that percent, few of the percent, that is two-thirds, it is present in the glaciers and polar ice caps. And out of that, the water is groundwater, and the remaining water, it is present on the surface of the ground. So we can imagine how much less quantity of water is available for us, that is the fresh water. Following is a brief account of how water is used in different sectors. First is agriculture use. As 70% population or 80% of the population in India is doing agriculture. And we can't imagine agriculture you without water. So agriculture accounts for 69% of all water consumption. Basically, in agriculture economies like India, agriculture therefore is the largest consumer of the Earth's available fresh water. Just now I have told you that we can't imagine agriculture without water. If water is in plenty, if water is available in appropriate amount, then only we can think for the quantity and quality production of the agriculture goods. So by 2050, the global water demand of agriculture is estimated to increase by a further 19% due to irrigational needs. Expanding irrigation needs are likely to put undue pressure on water shortage. It is still inconclusive whether further expansion of irrigation as well as additional water withdrawals from river and groundwater will be possible in future. So continuously we are expanding the irrigation needs, and that put pressure on the water shortage. So we need to conserve the water. We need to save the water. And continuously we are withdrawing the water from the rivers, the groundwater, for the expansion of irrigation. So if continuously we are using the water, then how it will be possible to save the water for future? The second is industrial use. Water is the lifeblood of the industry. It is used as a raw material, coolant, a solvent, a transport agent, as a source of energy. Manufacturing industries account for a considerable share in the total industrial water consumption. So, water is a lifeblood. It is inevitable part of our life, and it is used as a raw material coolant, a solvent, a transport agent, as a source of energy. For many applications, for many industries, we are continuously using the water. So we can say that the application of the water in the industrial purpose is too much. So manufacturing industries account for a considerable share in the total industrial water consumption. Beside paper and allied products, chemicals and primary metals are major industrial users of water. Worldwide, the industry accounts for 90% of total consumption. In industrialized countries, however, industries use more than half of the water available for human use. So, as we are saying, that water is available in fresh water in a very less quantity. And even though the half of the water which is available for the human use is used by the industries. So we can imagine that how much competition is there for the water and why there's a need to make the campaigns for save water, water conservation like. Third, for the domestic use. Domestic use of water. It includes drinking, cleaning, personal hygiene, garden care for nursery, under that for nursery and gardening management, cooking, washing of clothes, dishes, vehicles, etc. Since the end of the World War, there has been a trend of people moving out of the countryside to the ever expanding cities. This trend has important implication on our water sources. Government and communities have had to start building large water supply systems to deliver water to new population and industries. Of all water consumption in the world, domestic use account for about 12%. So for our daily functions, for our daily utilities, we need water. Since the end of the World War II, there has been a trend of people moving out of the countryside to the ever expanding cities. Government and communities have had to start building large water supply systems to deliver water to new population and industries. So, out of the consumption range, the domestic purpose is something which need a huge quantity of water, which has a more share for the application of the water for domestic use. Use for hydropower generation. As in the yesterday's lecture, we have stated that the alternate source of energy, right? So we use water for the generation of electricity, for the generation of power. So used for hydropower generations. Hydroelectricity produces from water is hydropower. Hydropower is the leading renewable source of electricity in the world. It accounts for about 16% of the total electricity generation at the global level. There are many opportunities for hydropower development throughout the world. Today, the leading hydropower generating countries are China, the US, Brazil, Canada, India, and Russia. So, use of hydropower generation. Electricity produces from water is hydropower. So, one side doesn't need to save the water. And the one challenge is to produce the electricity in the natural way from the natural resources. So, whenever we are capable of saving the water, then and then only we are capable of hydropower generation. So, hydropower is the leading renewable source of electricity in the world, as water is considered as the renewable resource through the hydrological cycle. And if we can save the water, and if we are capable of doing that, then only it is possible to say that the electricity is a renewable resource. It accounts for about 16% of total electricity generation globally. So जितना भी प्रोडक्शन हो रहा है इलेक्ट्रिसिटी का globally, out of that 16% is generated by hydropower generation of electricity. There are many opportunities for hydropower development throughout the world. Now comes the use of navigation and recreation. Navigable waterways are defined as water courses that have been or may be used for transport of interstate or foreign commerce. Agricultural and commercial goods are moved on water on a large scale in a number of regions in the world. So, again, water is used for the navigation purpose also, right? We need to export something, we need to do the export business, we need to import something through the waterways, then water is applicable for the navigation sources, for the recreational purpose, right? Agriculture and commercial goods are moved on the water. Over exploitation of water. Now, what is exploitation and what is over exploitation? We are using something and we are like continuously using something in a very normal manner, then we can say we use something. But if we are using something in extra quantity or in an uncontrolled manner, we can say it is exploitation of that product. And if we are using that product in a too much deteriorated way, too much quantity in an uncontrolled manner, we can say it is the over exploitation of that product. So, over exploitation of water scarcity has become a burning global issue because continuously we are using the water in an uncontrolled manner, in an over exploited manner. The UN has held several conventions on water in recent decades. Continuous overutilization of surface and groundwater has led to virtual water scarcity in the world today. Continuous overutilization of surface and groundwater. उसकी वजह से continuously there's a problem of water scarcity. The depleting sources for high growth in human population over the centuries and increased man-induced water pollution across the world have created the unforeseen water scarcity around the globe. As a result, there has been continuous overutilization of the existing water sources due to mammoth growth in world population. As we are saying, there's an increase in population growth, right? And if there is a population growth, means there's a need of much more water. So, as the population is increasing continuously, we are doing the over exploitation of water. And there has been a continuous overutilization and existing water sources due to mammoth growth in world's population. Now comes the surface water. Surface water is different from groundwater. Groundwater is the water which is under the ground. But the surface water is the water which is available on the earth's surface water bodies. So, surface like the water in rivers, water in ponds, like surface water mainly comes directly from rain or surface sources are natural lakes, ponds, rivers, and streams. Artificial reservoirs. Availability of surface water decides the economy of country. On one side, the surface water availability affects the productivity. But on the other side, water sources may cause floods and droughts. Due to unequal distribution, water may lead to national, interstate, or international disputes. Sharing of surface water due to these disputes is affecting productivity of different agro eco zone and creating problems of government. So saline water, the brackish water, groundwater, water on polar caps. In the same way, there is a surface water. So among the application of water, this is the main source of the water, so-called surface water, where we are using it for the domestic purpose. And the surface water, whatever it is available, it directly available on the surface by the means of rain. Now, what can be the sources of surface water? That is ponds, rivers, streams, and artificial reservoirs. Now, availability of surface water decide the economy of the country. कितना पानी किसी भी कंट्री को सरफेस वाटर के फॉर्म में अवेलेबल है. On that, the irrigation will depend. On that, the domestic applications will depend. On that, the industries will depend. On that, various business will depend. On that, the transportation will depend. The recreational and entertainment will depend. So the surface water decide the economy of country. It can be a major factor for the business purpose. On one side, the surface water availability affects the productivity. Obviously, the water is the base for many business. Water is very important for various industries. And if the industries they will work properly, then and then only we can think about the productivity. And even in the productivity of the agriculture areas, agriculture fields. But there's an another side of the head that water sources may cause the floods and the droughts. पानी की वजह से फ्लड्स भी है, पानी की वजह से ड्रॉट का प्रॉब्लम भी है. सो ड्यू टू अनइक्वल डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन, अब जितना भी एरिया है किसी भी स्टेट के लिए, दो स्टेट्स के बीच में, और अगर उनके बीच में पानी का अनइक्वल डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन है, पानी इक्वली सारे स्टेट्स को डिस्ट्रीब्यूट नहीं हो रहा है, then there can be a chance of misunderstanding. There can be a chance of national or international disputes. So, sharing of surface water due to these disputes is affecting the productivity of different agro ecozone. अगर water sharing proper नहीं हो रहा है, then directly or indirectly it affects the productivity. And it create problems for the government. Even there are lot of ambiguity, there are lot of disputes in the government too, and it create a problem for government that how to distribute the water among the states, how much water is to be distributed among the states, how to control the distribution of water among the states. So there are various problems which has to be handled by the government for this particular natural resource so called water. So students, till here we have studied the water as a natural resources. Then we have discussed about the application of water. We have used the use of water like agriculture use, industrial use of water for the hydropower generation. So then the how much water is available in the fresh form, how much water is available in the saline form, what can be the benefits of water, what can be the adverse impact of water. So these are the following topics which we have covered in this part. In the next part, we will cover the groundwater. Thank you.